Yeah, yeah. Mr. Independent thought, I don't fuck with thoughts. The I am my name, say I'm hard to stop. Invisibility code activated. Business all on my face like I already made it. Taking niggas to school, they all degraded. Don't care about your nigga, yeah, I'm the greatest. Muhammad Ali, all up in my vein. And you can say what you want, nigga, I ain't changing. Chick in the other room, already changing. Fucked up part main, I ain't even famous. Weatherman, nigga, we hurricaning. Rain, sleet, snow, hell, we the main event.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Liv back with the Black Male Geniuses podcast, part 10. We 10 episodes in, here with Parris. He's been nice enough to bless me with his presence on my podcast, so I appreciate you here, brother. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. You know, we got that time difference going, but it ain't too early over here. 7 is not that early. I'm usually up at 5, so this is fine. Just had a long night.
Yeah, hey, as you should. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I appreciate your time because it's not always easy getting up on Sunday early, and here in Dubai, it's about 5:20 p.m. So we are 8 hours away, and you're in what state?
Dallas, Texas.
Dallas.
Super
Cowboys.
bright over there too for 5:30, man.
Yeah, because like we're closer to the equator too. So we're closer to the equator. So and now it's starting to come closer to summer. So it's hot here a lot. So yeah, sun's higher in the sky. So yeah.
I have not been to Dubai, so on my list.
Yeah, hey, I'm here, so you can be here. It's no big deal. So I think about episode 10, and it's like, man, double digits. That's awesome. So this is a very special episode. I'm just up here at my rooftop pool, just kicking it. You know what I'm saying? And so tell me, okay, introduce yourself. Just a quick introduction. You know what I'm saying? Anything you want to tell them, and then we'll go into like how we met.
Yeah, sure. All right. So my name is Parris. I'm from North Carolina, small town, Ahoskie, 252. Born and raised there pretty much. I was born in California, but raised there. Like moved there when I was 1. My family's from there. Grew up playing sports and playing outside, doing all country things.
Yeah.
Went high school in the county, so not a lot of people. Was only good at math in high school, so chose either to be accountant, a math teacher, or engineer. Accountant seemed boring. Math teacher didn't make enough money for me, so I was like, I guess I'm an engineer. There's only really 2 schools in the state that you really could go to, which was either NC State or A&T.
Right.
I was going to NC State at first, but my friends convinced me that A&T was the place to be. Like, if you're looking for black engineers, you're probably going to go to the HBCU, not the PWI. So went to A&T, which was the best decision I probably ever made, because if I would have came out of NC State, definitely would have been heavily full of debt and stuff. I got a scholarship to go to A&T. So with A&T, did electrical engineering undergrad. Was about to graduate, and then it was just like I knew I wanted to eventually get my master's, so I was like, might as well do it now. I definitely don't want to be working and going to school at the same time. And I was like, jobs ain't going nowhere, so why not?
Yeah.
So stayed,
That's real.
got my master's in industrial and systems engineering. Graduated, started working in aerospace. So I worked for Rolls-Royce for like 4 years. That helped me move around a lot. Did a rotational program. That was really beneficial because I had never been outside of the country until after I graduated college. Working with that job, it allowed me to work in the UK for 6 months.
Amazing.
So that was big for my piquing my travel interest. And after that, they were based in Indianapolis, Indiana, which ain't for everybody. Like, I'm from the South, so the Midwest just wasn't really. It was a culture shock for me, especially coming out of a all black college and all black high school, going to the Midwest and just not really seeing black people like that was a complete culture shock.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was looking to get out of there. Most of my friends were in Texas or moving to Texas. So I was like, I'm trying to get there. Got lucky and found a interview with another company. So I'm out here with another aerospace company in Texas. And I've been here for probably going on like 5 years now. Loving it.
That's awesome, man. I think that's really cool, like the stories that we have, because for me, so I went to, my high school was like 50-50, Northern High School, and then I went to state, and I was like, I wanted to go, because I wanted to play football and stuff like that. It's funny, I got my NC State shirt on now. I wanted to play football, but I couldn't do both. It was just too tough, so I chose meteorology. So that obviously has a lot of engineering curriculum. So it's really nice to see somebody like that knows the struggle of going through that engineering curriculum. Like it's tough, but it's rewarding. You know what I'm saying?
How did
So
you
they
how
call it.
did you go about choosing meteorology?
So I was 5 years old, believe it or not. So 5 years old, my dad worked for the airlines. So and I'm a big gamer. I love video games. So I was playing Mario as a kid, and I was like, why the hell is Super Mario walking on the clouds and I'm flying through them? So I've always been a very, very curious kid and thought for myself and been like, I'm not going to just go with the crowd. I might go this way, see how it feels. So I've always kind of been like that. That's probably one of the number one questions I get, and I'm glad you asked me because it's something I think everybody can relate to. You know, everybody knows Super Mario, and
Facts.
a lot of people have flown on planes. I know some people that haven't, but a lot of people know, that you go through clouds on a plane. Hopefully everybody, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, good question. That's really cool because when you talk about going to HBCU, if I was going to go to grad school, I would have went to an HBCU for sure just to get that experience. For me, I thought about it like number one, with the amount of people that are at NC State, like maybe like 40 something thousand, you'll probably have just as many black people, even though it's like a small percentage. You'll probably have just as many depending on the size. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say if it's 10%, you got 4,000. That's what, 4,000. I don't know how much is how much is A&T. It's pretty big though. A&T is pretty big.
It might be
What's
like
their enrollment?
24,000.
Okay.
24,000, something like that.
Okay, so yeah, so obviously that's more, but it's more than you think, depending on, and I don't know if it's 10% or not, I don't know, but obviously the culture is gonna be different. Obviously you're gonna have different situations. I remember one time when I was at NC State, like, and I'm going through there as a meteorologist, black kid, I'm wearing a Louisiana Tech jersey, and I actually wrote a blog on my Medium page. I'm at Writers Block 8815 on Medium. I wrote about what it's like to be the 1%, like black male meteorologist from the projects. And I talked about how I went in first year college, even though I had a 3.5, it was hard to get in. And then I had a meteorology course, and it's funny not some meteorologists, but it was 3 parts. I barely went to class. It wasn't in the syllabus. Got an A, first part, A, second part. Those two teachers didn't care. Third part, it was, you had to take, it was 2 homework assignments, and they would take the better of the 2. So I think that I don't know what demographic he was, but he wasn't black. He wasn't white. He was like maybe like Arabic or something like that. I don't know. But I got 100 on the first assignment. I didn't feel good about the second one. So he ended up taking the 0, and it failed me for the entire class. So that's the kind of stuff that you'll see. Yeah, that's whack. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I've always been, and you might have experienced stuff like this where some people just don't think you should succeed or try to throw those trap doors with you. Now, with that said, I'm still cool with my professors. They're white, whatever, and they have wrote me letters of recommendation, different things like that. So I've seen it on both sides, and I'm going to keep it real. Like, I'm always going to be black. This don't rub off. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know all skin folk ain't kin folk. So, like, there's a nice balance of just being selective in who you're around, but that doesn't mean that you can't be for your people. And that's one of the reasons I named it Black Male Geniuses Podcast, is because I want people to know that black men can be geniuses too. And this is supporting the black brand, Actively Black. Shout out to y'all. I got a shirt that matches this, so I'm rocking that today. So yeah, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. The trap doors, right? You'll get. So to see you be able to do those things and meander your way through everything, and be in these big companies, that's dope. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't trust a lot of them, especially in corporate America. However, I have worked in corporate America. I know it's not everybody, but with the quiet quitting and everything like that, I mean, can you blame anybody?
Nah,
You know what I'm saying?
but you gotta just have a different mindset with it. Like where, well,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna say you have to. I treat the job how essentially most jobs in corporate America treat you. I know
Mm-hmm.
that they try. Most of them talk, a good game on culture, a good game on
Mm-hmm.
trying to create a culture or treating you like your family and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And I'm sure it's jobs out there that do that. But just my
Yeah.
mindset has always been that as soon as you die, they gonna have your job wreck out in a week, 2 weeks. So I'm
Yep.
not saying that that's how you should treat the people in the workplace, but the
Yeah. Yeah.
company itself, you gotta recognize that
It's a
you
business.
are individual. Yeah, it's a business at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
should treat that relationship as a business. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because so I started traveling the world I'm like when I turned 30, it was what 2013. I don't think I was 30 then, but 2013 was when I went to Canada, and then 2015 is when I went to Germany. So I went to Canada first, then I went to Europe, and I went to like 6 countries there, and that changed my life. I was like 30, okay, I got to do this. I can't just be going to work, home, and then club on weekend, every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need my liver. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need that.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I like to do my thing. You know what I'm saying? But I think that was one of the best decisions I made in my life. It's helped me springboard to be out here in Dubai and whatever. And actually, I had a actually, you know what? You were talking about like what springboarded you to travel outside of the country. If I had not taken a job or taken $300 in my refund check in college to go to Louisiana to go to a weather conference, and I wouldn't have had my first meteorology job. And I got a job quicker than a lot of people that had way better grades than me. And that's the crazy thing is it's about who you know, making sure people can feel you. Because I just put that on LinkedIn.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
1,000% networking.
Yep. And that's what these podcasts do. It teaches you how to how to express yourself. I mean, obviously you're very articulate. You have experience with, obviously talking in front of a camera. Most people do. And Instagram and all that stuff gives us the ability to do it. So, but yeah, that's how I got my first job at a weather conference. Most people gonna buy rims. Those niggas gonna buy rims. Gonna buy whatever else.
J's and stuff, and that's what I tell a lot of my
J's.
friends too. When they see you traveling and stuff, they think it's really expensive, and I'm like, I don't spend a lot of money on clothes. I don't spend a lot of money on different stuff. So I was like, if you think about 2 pairs of J's, could have got you a flight to Spain or a flight to something. It's the same thing. And then once you get there, that's what people don't realize. Once you get the flight covered, everything else is either about the same price or cheaper to get the accommodations and stuff. It's the same way as if you was traveling in the U.S., except you're getting a whole new experience.
But you also can get a hostel there. That's one thing that's not in the States is they don't have a
That's what I'm
hostel. They
saying.
want you to spend more money, and it's actually more expensive to leave and go than to come back. And I've noticed that too. I'm glad you said that because so many black people that I've had on here and people I've had here from America, you would like my boy Charles. He's I think what's his nationality? He's Greek. He's Greek, but he's from America. I mean, he's on episode 4. Shout out to Charles. That's the big thing. He said tax returns. You got the tax returns. You could have got that 150 for that passport. And 7 years, no, was it 7 years later, 2005. So 8 years later, niggas still like, and this ain't no shot. It is what it is. Niggas still like, I'm gonna travel with you. And it's like, it's been 8 years, my niggas. 8 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's everybody. That's the same way as when you even planning the trip. You could be going to a different state, and it's that phase. I think you even see it on Instagram. It's like everybody wants to get invited, and then once you start planning, as soon as you start talking money, that's when everybody drop out. I'm just like, what? Like you weren't planning for this?
And it's crazy because that shout out to mint.com. I use mint.com to try to stay on a budget. I know things are more expensive for people now. I understand that. Shoot, I mean, I'm not rich, you know what I'm saying, but I just try to lower my expenses, especially my rent. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people want to floss and be like, oh, I got this big ass house and it's the only person in there. And then they wonder I ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Buy a new shirt every week just to be fresh on Instagram. Motherfuckers probably
Priorities, man.
That's all it is. But to be that said, I mean, I think it's definitely helped me in my life to be cool with a lot of different people, and I learned so much more being outside of the American culture. Not that everything is bad, but I think it's really shaped me in so many ways. So that's a segue to us meeting. So tell me your perspective on we met in Portugal. You know what I'm saying? It was my first time in Portugal. I don't know if it was your first time out of the country,
Same.
but tell me.
No, it wasn't my first time out of the country.
Okay, so tell me your point of view of like how we bumped into each other in Lisbon.
All right, bet. So I guess the quick story is I was in Portugal with my current roommate and best friend from college, also my podcast host. We were in Portugal doing a stint for like a month, staying at a hostel. We had just finished doing this.
What's your podcast? Tell them your podcast.
ZENCASTR podcast. You can check us out. YouTube, Instagram, all of that. So we over there. We were just doing a cooking class, and I forget what's the name of the side that we were on because we took the ferry over
I
from
know you're talking about.
Lisbon
See if I
to
can
that
find it.
side of Portugal. Yeah. I don't remember the name of that side, but either way, we did it at this lady's house. We had just finished watching the sunset, and the ferries are at certain times going
Mm-hmm.
back across to Lisbon. So we chilling, about to get on the ferry, and I see a dude with like a big book bag, and I don't know what you were saying, but of course, when you're in Portugal, they speak Portuguese, of course. So for the most
Yeah,
part, when you hear people talking English, you kind of be like,
you
oh, all
know,
right, yeah, you know.
another one.
So could just could hear you talking English, and then of course it's not just you hear somebody talking English. You hear somebody talking English, and it sounds like either somewhere you're from or regular English. You like, oh, this dude got to be from America. So I just tapped my friend, was like, oh, this dude's definitely
Yeah,
from America too.
yeah,
So when we
for
get on
sure.
the ferry, whatever, it's like 2 levels. We sit down, or I think maybe in line, just like taps you like, yo, bro, like, what's up? You from America? He's like, hell yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. When NC
Mm-hmm.
State was like, I'm from North Carolina, and
Yeah,
just started from there.
yeah,
You had the
crazy.
little dot card. That was dope.
Mm-hmm. Was confusing as hell
Uh,
for me at first. Not two different tickets, but go for it. We can talk about that later.
yeah. But essentially, that's how we met. Just talking on the whole ferry ride back. Ferry ride is
Mm-hmm.
probably maybe 30 minutes. Like it ain't long at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah. So it was Almada. So the other side was Almada, I think. Almada, it looks like I'm
Yeah.
looking here. It was hold on, it might be a different name here. I'm pulling it up real quick. Almada, let me see who's in. But yeah, it was basically across the little bridge. If y'all on got Google, the across the E90 bridge, from north to south. We were going from south to north on the way back. 'Cause I just had to pick up my camping gear for Sudoeste Day. So yeah, I'm really glad you stopped me because it's always a special bond when you see Americans abroad, but especially when you see Black people abroad, and quadruply especially when you see Black brothers abroad. I hope that makes sense. I hope I said that right.
Oh,
Uh,
1,000%. And you spoke on it in one of your other episodes where when you're over there, they don't even essentially treat you like you black in some places. They more so just treat you like an American before being black. Now, don't get me wrong, they don't not notice that you black, but
yeah, yeah. I mean,
they treat you as an American first, which is like
yeah,
a completely different experience. Like when you live in
refreshing.
America,
Yeah, it's refreshing.
yeah, refreshing as hell. I think it's
Hmm.
no like I ain't gonna say if just talking about differences, it's different. And I said this when I lived in the UK on when somebody's talking to you and you feel like, for example, I'm from North Carolina, so when I go to
Hmm.
California, that's a little bit of a culture shock in America
Yeah,
because
for
I'm
sure.
not used to the West Coast. So when you're talking to
Hmm.
somebody, they'll ask you about being from the country and stuff, or being black and being from the South. But when you go
Hmm.
out of the country, they start asking you about like, because this could be some people's first experience meeting an American or a black person or whatever. So now you
Facts.
feel like you speaking for like the whole black race of America with some of the stuff you
Hmm.
say, and whatever
Hmm. Yeah.
impression you leave them with is like
Hmm.
how they can view all Black
Hmm.
Americans. Because of course they ask you sometimes depends on how personal the conversation you're having. Asking you
Hmm.
like, is the racism really that bad in America? Or
That's a good
police,
one you get. That's one of the first ones you get. Police brutality, all that stuff. Yeah.
is the police brutality that real? Like, just
Hmm.
asking about it. Sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. But I take pride, and you gonna probably agree with this. I'm willing to put the money on that on this. Like I take pride in being one of the Black people that other races can be like, I can ask him whatever question I need to ask him just to get the information. You know what I'm saying? Like we're articulate. You know what I'm saying? But we're still country boys, but we know how to conduct ourselves when we go places, and we like to have fun. I mean, like, would you agree with that? Would you agree with all that? Like,
I would,
like,
I would agree, and of course, I'm a little college answer type of guy where it depends. I'm all
okay,
about intention, so you can read
facts.
people too. So
Yeah.
if you're asking me for genuine curiosity, like you literally
Mhm.
don't know, or you literally are
Mhm.
just trying to get a better understanding of me or
Mhm.
how America goes,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't mind because I got the same kind of
Yeah.
questions for you. Because you meet people, they talk about living in like war zones or living in
Mhm.
poverty or all these other different things. So I'm trying to learn about
Mhm.
you as well.
Yeah.
Versus if you asking me and it just seems like it's coming across as not elitist, but you asking me and it's like you asking and the intention don't feel right, then I'm just
Mhm.
going. I might not even be rude about it, but I might just shut it down. Like, no, I don't even know. I have no
Okay.
clue what you're talking about. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So it
No,
just
I
depends on
understand
the
that.
intention and the feeling.
I feel like most people when I went up gone abroad have been very very interested, especially I mean and genuine, especially like when you go to when I went to Russia. I mean it was crazy. I mean, look, the funny thing is I still got video on my YouTube page, youtube.com/ I think it's at live the brand LIVDABRAND all one word. They let me get that handle. Appreciate you, YouTube. Because I got the video of me going from North Carolina driving to DC before I flew out to Germany. I got that video. I got video of different places in Russia. I got all that on tape. On tape. Do you?
So VHS.
Yeah, I know, right? Put that joint in. But Matt, could you imagine if like we didn't have videos of this shit? Motherfuckers would be like, cap. You know what I'm saying? And that's the big
Oh man,
thing, man,
even
of having
past
a
that,
channel.
I'm thinking about technology. I wouldn't have been able to do the trip I did if technology hadn't advanced like it did. Like even like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, if Airbnb didn't exist, being able to look up things as quick as you can and figuring out where you
Matt,
can go and can't go. Like technology has allowed us to even travel a lot more easy. Like pulling out a
true.
big map and doing it the old kind of way would have just
It would have been
been,
tough.
tough.
It's more weight, and then also too, you can, here's a hack: you can go any place and get you a little SIM card, and just pop that boy in there and have buy you a little plan.
Thanks.
I use shout out to Leica Mobile. I use Leica Mobile over here for my cell phone, LYCA Mobile, and then you can add your international credits, and then you can use that over here, and you can have like your phone number to call, your U.S. phone number. You just have to use it at least once in 3 months, or they'll cancel it. But I get one. I get one in the Netherlands when I go, and I got one for out here. So that's just a little hack that I like to do because I don't always like to use roaming plans. Like I can use roaming plans, like here in Dubai, because I have a Dubai phone right here. But that's just something to help people when
Yeah,
they
I
kind of
didn't
getting
either.
started.
I got a SIM card in different countries I went to too. Just at the airport,
Okay.
go to the
hmm
little store or whatever, get you a SIM.
Okay. Yeah. So like on my part, as far as the like my day, like before we met, like I was I think my boy Eddie got there the day after I got there. No, he was there, but I think he was before. So what happened was I got to Portugal a day after he had went up north to, what's the city? Porto. And so what happens, I stayed one night by myself and he came back down and we went to the West Day. So I ended up getting my camping stuff while he was back at the hostel the next day. So that's when I met you. I had just done a little bit of video and a little vlogging. And to my people that watch my page, I know I don't post every day. I try to post at least once a month. I know everybody's like, you need to do it every week. Trust me, I get it. I do. But I do so much other stuff as well. And sometimes I don't want to be on camera. I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I just want to sleep because you don't want to be on. But what I will say is no matter if it's one viewer, 19, 200, 2,000, 2 million, it's going to be genuine and it's going to be organic. So I really appreciate everybody that watches. And, make sure you click like. And even if you don't, it is appreciated, and especially to all my guests and everybody that's helped me get here. But that's basically what happened. I was like, man, okay, there's a ferry, there's a bus card, there's a ferry card, and I didn't realize the difference. So, and I think I had just had a fresh pina colada, so or maybe I got one on the way back. But yeah, so that's kind of what happened with me. I was kind of like, oh, what happened? So that's probably why I was talking about my car, make sure I can get across to the other side before that boy left. But yeah, we went back over to the other side. We talked the whole time, and then I think we went back to our hostels. And then I think we met back up for a beer and maybe some pizza or something like that. And we just chopped it up.
Yeah, once we chopped it up when the ferry went back and before we went to our hostels, and then
Okay,
like you said,
before,
the
okay.
next day y'all was headed to y'all was headed to like that concert. I think like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
next day, but you said you hit me when you was on the way back, but when you was on the way back, that's when my
It was
friend had
tough.
the accident. Yeah, it was just tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But things happen, and they happen very fast abroad. But that was really cool. Like to drink some Portuguese beer. I was tipsy, bro. I was out there. I was feeling
Cheap
nice.
too. Cheap.
Cheap, cheap, man. And a lot of people I don't know. I just feel like the most money I've ever spent has been on traveling, and I have no regrets about it at all. And I don't want to sound like I'm talking down to people who don't travel. That's not it. I mean, at this point, if that's what you get from all this, then that says more about you than me at this point. But when it comes down to it, I think it's important that we understand the importance of traveling, especially as Black people, because there's a lot of friendly fire. You know what I'm saying? And if you got a felony, you know, we all got people in our family that got felonies. I hope you get it expunged. Everybody got their reasons or whatever. But you're not gonna be able to get a passport. That's a way to keep people from going to jail. And Lord knows they want our Black ass in jail to get that labor up out of us. So if you get that passport, you got a reason to be like, you know what? I'm not gonna jump in this dude's face, or I'm not gonna do this something stupid, or I'm not gonna act emotionally. I'm gonna focus on this passport, and I'm gonna see somewhere instead of going to the club in my hometown where I know it's gonna probably get shot up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and take this plane, and I'm gonna go to a club in, say, a place,
Oh shit, Barcelona,
Barcelona. Okay.
Greece, you can go wherever.
Yep. So that was my mindset. Like I didn't seen all these niggas before, you know. And when I say niggas, I say that shit broad. Like I didn't seen all these people. I know North Carolina. I pretty much been everywhere in North Carolina. Like North Carolina gonna still be North Carolina. Shout out North Carolina. But it's okay to see different stuff. It's totally okay. So real quick, so when you left Portugal, tell me a little bit about your trip. Like I never had a chance to talk to you, so this is the premiere of you know, the places you said you were gonna go. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah. So me and my friend, we put together a plan probably in like February earlier that year. We had been thinking and talking about it a lot, where it's just like, we really said we wanted to take probably like 6 months and just travel. And we was like, what's stopping us from doing that? And we was like, of course, work. But right now, after the pandemic, most people are telecommuting. So we like, oh, if we telecommuting, we could try and work part-time overseas, you know? Like, it's no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. And if not, push come to shove, we'll essentially quit or try and take leave or whatever. Just take the time off, because we just think, you know, as you get older, you can do it when you're older, but it's probably not. I ain't gonna say it's not gonna be as fun. Yeah, it's just not the same. It's not the same. It's like, and it's almost like waiting for a retirement to use your 401k and stuff. Who knows if you even gonna make it to that age and stuff, or you got different circumstances in, wife, kids and stuff. It's different pieces. While it's just you trying to make that trip, do it now. So we set up a plan. We set up a plan to do it. We said we're gonna start in the UK and work our way further and further, I guess, east. So set up a plan. I took leave. My friend literally quit because they weren't accepting her leave.
And that's another thing. That's another thing. Like, that's one thing that happens with a lot of people. Some companies will be like, you know, we want to take leave, and they understand mental health, especially after COVID. But then there's some companies that won't, and I respect them doing it. A lot of people wouldn't do that. And honestly, you gotta be prepared. Look, I had to take leave. I can't say nothing specific about it, but what I will say is that it was a toxic environment for sure, and they were looking for somebody to blame. So they were like, all right, you want to take leave? Like, I can take leave? All right, well, I'm going to be on my time. At that point, I realized that, you know, I mean, let's be honest, with the quiet quitting and stuff, obviously, my environment won't be the only toxic environment. So, you know, that's a really big thing now. So, like, I did the same thing, or you got to quit, one of the two. And so that's really great how consistent that is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so like we started in the UK, and we just kind of planned it out. And we said we had an overall plan of which countries we wanted to hit, but it was super flexible. We said we're going to plan like a month at a time so that we can leave that flexibility. The biggest thing we already knew, again, was the flight over there is probably going to be the most expensive, and the flight back. So we tried to plan those out and get those for as cheap as possible. But once we started that, it's like between Airbnb and hostels, the money was a lot more affordable than most people think. It's like once you start doing your research and you get over there, a flight to another country is going to be like going from like North Carolina to Texas, North Carolina to Atlanta. Once you start getting over there,
but cheaper in a lot of ways.
Cheaper, yeah, like $200-$300 to go from the UK over to like Spain back to wherever. So again, started in the UK. Trip? We hit no, not round trip, because we was doing one ways. You're right. One way is even cheaper. So we weren't even doing round trips. One ways are cheaper. So again, started in the UK. We went to where did we go after that? We went to we hit a couple spots in the UK. So we went to Scotland. We stayed mostly where I had worked at for 6 months, and then we met somebody at the hostel that we stayed at in London. They let us come stay with them in Ireland. Went to Dublin before we went to Portugal.
Always how it
Did
happens, man.
exactly. You meet so people over there are a lot nicer. Just I ain't gonna say they're nicer.
In
They have a
general.
culture. Yeah. It's a cultural thing where because the U.S. is so quote unquote big, each state has its own culture, but over there, each country has its own culture. So you just meeting all these different people from all these different countries and stuff. So they're a lot more open and used to traveling and speaking all these different languages and learning about everything. So they're a
Yeah.
lot more inviting with, hey man, yeah, why don't you come visit me, come stay with me? And they get so excited to see Americans, of course,
Yes.
because a lot of Americans don't travel like that. So it's like, oh
Especially
wow,
Black
y'all know it?
Americans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that's
So
that's a
from
big point. Real quick.
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt because
no,
I think it's so important to unpack because that's how you get to save money too. Is people like, hey, you can come crash, whatever, when they cool, whatever, and you'll crash. You'll save that money. They'll show you around different things. I know we had like I'm still cool with a whole bunch of my females in Russia, homeboys in Russia. I got video of them too. They showed me around, and I mean that actually happened on the fly. You probably didn't know you was gonna go over there, but when you got there, we're like, oh, it's right here. Let's go. And so like that's the freedom of it, and that's the cool thing about it, right?
yeah, that's the part of like learning too. You get over there, like you said, and you start learning stuff that you never. Of course, when you meet the people, they start talking about places that they've been, and you're like, oh, I would have never thought about going there. So you start learning about different places. So, like I said, my friend had the accident in Portugal that caused her to cut her trip short. So the rest of it was me, and I went from Portugal. But luckily, I had friends come and visit throughout the trip. So
Okay.
from
Okay.
Portugal to Barcelona, Barcelona to Greece to Italy, Italy to Africa. So I went to Egypt. And this is my first time in
Nice.
Africa. So Egypt
Yeah.
to South Africa, Cape Town. And after
Mm-hmm.
that, I had 2 stints left that I was going to do, which was going to be India and Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But I traveled home. We already planned to go to GHO, Greatest Homecoming on Earth at A&T. So once I flew home, I really like cost was getting a little too high, and I was just like, all right, I can do the
Yeah.
last 2 stints. So it's essentially like 4 months instead of 6. But
Okay.
great experience, great time. It's on YouTube now too. We did a vlog series
Awesome.
about it,
Nice.
so check that out at ZenTrap. But great time, but life changing experiences. I highly recommend it. And if you, I know you would agree with this too, as you would say, if you can't find nobody to go with you, solo trip, man. Everybody should do a solo trip. You learn so much about yourself. Solo trip it.
But you never really by yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you gonna meet somebody. Somebody gonna see you, especially if you got dreads. Somebody gonna see you. Man, the second day I was in Germany. Like a lot of people probably think of Germany as like, extremely racist. No, I'm wrong. I'm sure they've got their own stuff
How
or
did you
whatever.
pick?
But like,
How did you pick not Germany, but how did you pick Russia? Like,
oh,
what made you choose Russia? Because I would be nervous about that.
oh yeah, my uncle was like, I ain't know about that nephew. So Eddie, you met Eddie. Shout out to Eddie. What's up, Eddie? He was one thinking about going. I was like, all right, I can't let you go by yourself, bro. I'll back you up. So I went there with him, and if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have went. So we that's on my YouTube too. We met in Copenhagen because I got some homeboys from Copenhagen. One of them from my hometown of Durham, actually. Shout out to TJ. Shout out my boy Kim, who I met through my boy TJ. And so yeah, we took a stop in Latvia and then we went there. We just got the visas. Pretty simple. And yeah, we went for a week. We went to 2 places. So that's how that worked. That's a good question. A lot of people are like, how you get to Russia? Hashtag niggas in Russia.
How was Russia?
Uh,
Like, I'm sure I could go watch it,
oh,
but like overall,
amazing. Amazing. You gotta watch the videos, bro. If there's any videos you gotta watch Russia because Russia, remember, Russia's a lot like America, bro. Like we like competitive cousins, bro. I mean, everybody was so nice. We immediately walked out of the hostel and 3 Russian guys come up and like, hey, you American? Or we gonna buy you drinks the whole night.
yeah. The people do that overseas. Like, oh, you're American. Let me get you around. Like, I got to get you a drink.
Yeah, it was on another level in Russia. Like when we went to St. Petersburg, this kid wrote me a note and was like, hey, thanks for coming. They were like, it was like I was like LeBron in that bitch. And it was like, and the kid wrote like, hey, welcome to St. Petersburg. Because in St. Pete, it's not like Moscow. It's a little bit, it's a big city, but not as big as Moscow. Most people just go to Moscow. So it was really cool to see that love and that curiosity. Like people weren't just mean to me because I was black. It was just like, oh, you took the time. Look, remember, people ain't stupid, especially outside of America. I think the average American is dumb. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna say that we need to be more informed of shit instead of just us. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no newsflash. Okay, our education system isn't the best, and we damn sure don't travel, so it becomes kind of stale. I'm not saying that everybody's dumb. Let's be honest. We got some dumb motherfuckers. Okay, that do
Facts. It's
not
like you said
know
though. I
what's
think
going on.
it's the system though, because I could say if I hadn't traveled, when I go
Mm-hmm.
and talk to people and they know more about world. I ain't gonna say world, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
world history, not just American
Mm-hmm.
history. They know world
Mm-hmm.
history and politics and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. They
Mm-hmm.
learn that stuff in school, and I'm
Right.
like, oh yeah, they don't teach us none of that in school. Like North
It
Carolina,
is
we
this.
learn only about North Carolina.
If that. But the thing is this: when I say dumb, I don't mean ignorant, right? So I'm gonna separate those. So like, I understand. I still have a level of ignorance of the world for sure. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual thirst to want to learn knowledge. For us in America, we are the kings and queens of entertainment. So we people will flock to entertainment first before they'll flock to trying to learn something new in general. You know what I'm saying? If you look at like Instagram and stuff, like it's attention seeking, it's all that stuff. And it's like, if you try to say something insightful, it's like, nigga, don't be so serious. You know what I'm saying? And then you can break it down into like black culture and stuff like that if you want. But I'm just saying, like, from my point of view, I feel like we shouldn't have some of the debates that we have about stuff that don't make no damn sense. If I feel like when I went to other places, if I were to say something scientifically like we got this whole like 60, 70,000 genders. You know, if I go to Russia, they like, bro, there's two genders. You know what I'm saying? Like, and they not fighting over that shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about. Like, as far as that's concerned, like, you know, I think we could, yes, it's the system, but I think we could do a better job of not glorifying stupidity. You know what I'm saying? And I know in the black community, it's almost like if you've been in jail, you get glorified for that shit. That goes into our specific demographic, like, so it spills over into that in a different way as well. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I blame a lot of that on the system, just like a product of your environment type thing. You
Yeah,
only know as much as you know your block, and luckily with Instagram and internet, it's hopefully opening it up more.
yeah.
Hopefully, again, like having conversations and seeing stuff like this can get people to travel more. And I did want to ask you like two things. One, I'm sure most people ask you this when you know you well traveled. What's been your favorite place? And
Um,
the second one is like, what would you say you learned the most? Like, what's the biggest thing you've learned from traveling, or one thing you've learned from traveling?
well, Russia was just mind blowing. Because when we landed, bro, you got to think like these two niggas landed at one time. We like, oh shit, like me and checkout, we got this Italian lady here, and everybody was mad cool, and we got through customs quickly. Like it was just like. There wasn't no issues. It won't no smoke, no none of that. You know what I'm saying? If you land in New York, you might have a little extra smoke. All right, go on and stand over here. We need to patch you extra. You know what I'm saying? They won't none of that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like that's the experience I'm talking about. It's like, you know, but I think Russia was very unique. I love the Netherlands. Like I'm big with the Netherlands. Obviously I love Spain and Portugal, being part of Hispanic heritage. Those are some of the ones that stand out. And I've been to Italy, but it was only for like a day or two. I'm just gonna do one full trip of that. But those are the
Oh, I
ones that
got you.
kind of stand out. And I forgot the second question. Oh, what have I learned? So, and as a scientist, I learn this every day, I don't know. I realize this every day. I don't know what I don't know, and every time and every day, whether I'm in Dubai, or whatever, I learn something new that I didn't know from a different angle. Every single day. For example, being here, they break their necks to get a taxi from me if I'm a black dude from America. If I'm in New York, it's probably gonna be hard to get a taxi. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Also, in Russia, you can get a beer at 5 o'clock in the morning at KFC. I would have never known that was the case. Here in Dubai, you can play American football. That's the American Football League. What are the chances? I would have never known that was here.
Hey, in like Germany, you get like you can drink on lunch break and stuff like that. Like you drink during work
It's
hours. Like you
open.
can have like what is it, one beer? Yeah, something like that. And then I heard
Yeah,
also
probably
that it's
so.
like a cap on the amount of hours you can work too. Like it's like
Oh,
illegal
Germany.
for you to work more than a certain amount of hours. Like like a
and they're
work-life
productive.
balance type thing.
And they're
Crazy.
productive. The 20-hour work week was something that I really was enamored with. Plus, I figured the Germans, I'm not going to say they went through the same thing as Black people, but I felt like it was very comparable in a lot of ways. Even Russians, very comparable. And you can go into the Irish if you want, but very comparable because not Germany was bullied twice. You know what I'm saying? And they had a lot of issues during those wars and different things. And I felt like that struggle was something that I kind of felt similar as being a Black person. So I was like, all right, I want to go to Germany and I want to go to Russia where these people went through a lot of pain, and maybe I can connect with them on that. So that's what I was thinking.
How'd you feel safety-wise going to some of these different countries? Because me personally, I've never felt safer in some of these places, especially like the UK. And again, I know it's a mindset thing and a cultural thing, but it's also just like, I know in the UK and some other countries where guns are like almost illegal, banned, nobody has a gun
Mm-hmm.
really. Just
Yeah.
knowing that alone takes a hint of like, oh, if somebody gonna rob me, they gotta pull a knife out or beat me up or something. Which again, I know this is probably bad, just American thing, but it makes you feel like, okay, cool, I at least got better chances versus in America, you
Yeah.
just, hey man,
Yeah.
you just feel like everybody packing, everybody can kind of run up on you. I
For
don't know, it's
nothing.
just a different, for nothing too.
For
Just
nothing.
a complete level of safety, walking around like 2-3 in the morning down like the
Mm-hmm.
streets and alleys and stuff in these
Chilling.
different countries, and feeling safe, like literally quiet. It's quiet. People just out here having a good time. Like, I don't know.
You
I
feel
felt a different level of safety traveling.
you feel white. You feel white, nigga. Like
Yeah.
you
Like
feel
it's
white.
just
You feel like a white
like
person
you white in
feel.
America.
Like this
Yeah,
la 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 la. Like that's how you feel.
like this
You
is
know.
crazy.
It's you know, that's a really good point. You know, it's funny. You can park on the curb in Germany, and also too, me and my boy was drinking beer at like 2 o'clock in the morning in Frankfurt, and cops was driving by, and we were just walking down the street. They don't care. In America, they would have stopped us probably just walking down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning off
Just
rip,
for walking.
and then
Yeah, just
just
for walking.
walking while black. And now we got a bottle of Carolus, which is 8% alcohol. We get hooked up, and we just chilling. We just absorbing it in, and the architecture. And that's another thing. The architecture is so modern in some of these places. Remember, because they had world wars, so they had to rebuild, and it's really a lot of it's very modern, especially here in Dubai. You know, so I think that's some of the things that that are very unique. That kind of like really hits my soul. I'm sure that maybe that answers your question.
Oh
I
no, it
got some
did. Yeah, for
flashbacks.
sure.
Yeah. Um, but you know, it's kind of crazy right now. It's 2023, February 12th right now, and it's crazy to think that April 7th, I think of this year. I think I look at my video or whatever. That it would have been 10 years roughly since I took my first international trip. You know, I had went to Canada. So like time flies. And I just imagine if I had never done that and I waited on people, I would have been so far ahead in opportunities, connections, different things like that. And you motivate me because, you also a podcast host person, and you real cool, and your friends real cool. And, you know, the fact that you have had the ability to, and I'm not saying you didn't earn it, but the fact that you had the ability to work remotely as a brother, and then for them to send you overseas to work, and we're able to do that, that's awesome, bro. We need to hear more of that. Just for me, I didn't
Yeah.
get a company transfer because it was kind of just stale and stuck. So I had to do it a creative way. But the fact that was able to happen, I think that that's just such a motivating thing for so many people, especially people that look like us. And so I just wanted to tell you that that's awesome, man. Like in our community, we need to just stop the jealousy, and understand that if one person can make it out and do this, it's so much easier to reach back when you ain't worried about your hand getting cut off.
For sure. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's a blessing. Like I said, it's all in the the research too of I was literally seeking out something like that where I definitely wasn't looking to go internationally. I was looking for a job that just did domestic rotations. And once I got it, they were saying, "Oh, you have like it wasn't even an option. You have to do an international stint." That's just how the program was back then. And I was like, "Of course, I'll do it." I didn't even have a passport when I first joined the company. Like they was like, "Oh, you need to go ahead and apply for a passport now because
See what I
you're
mean?
going to like." They kind of forced me into that stuff, which was great. That's kind of like
That's
my
awesome.
almost like origin story of traveling because I can say when I first graduated college, I didn't have plans on going to all these different like that just
Me
wasn't
either.
in my head. Product of my environment. I wasn't thinking about I want to go to all these different countries. I was like, oh yeah, that'll happen eventually, maybe, but I ain't even really seen America like that, so I'm not trying to go to. But once it happened, it's like, oh yeah, man, I want a whole lot more of this. This is something I need to do often and as frequently as I can because just like you said with people's priorities, at this point, I prioritize experiences over materials, right, wrong, and different. I want to eat good food. I want to see stuff I never seen. I want to meet different cultures and just hear about stuff. That's just the type of energy I'm just on and prioritizing.
You know, it's funny when I was in Budapest. It was my second festival in Budapest. It was called Sziget. When I was walking around Budapest at night in Budapest, Hungary, for y'all that don't know, people were sitting in the park at night. They do it here. Kids play at night in the park. You will hear kids in a little swing set right in front of my building. Yeah, at night. At night in America, you're not gonna be in the park. That shit is closed more often than not.
Oh,
That shows you how
and it's gonna be
safe
some
it is.
scary stuff in the park.
Yup. In the Netherlands, we had shrooms or whatever over there. But I did shrooms for the first time I was over there, and you know it's legal, whatever. And we were in the park all night, just chilling, just listening to a song that we had made in the studio hours earlier, on repeat. And we were just sitting on this tree that just went out into the lake. We were just posted up. You know, we were just posted up, just absorbing the vibes, just chilling out, laughing, having a good time. And those are the kind of things I think a lot of Americans need to get back to. And like you said, it is the system. But I think it's up to us individually to be the change that we want to be. And I talk a lot about how social media is great. Don't get me wrong, and, but it's a distraction and it keeps people from actually taking action. So nowadays, it's like, oh, I'm going to watch you go here instead of me trying to go here and be with you.
Yeah, it's almost like kids now, and I've only heard this because I don't have children myself, but most people say that kids are watching other kids play video games versus them
Right,
playing
instead of
video
playing,
games. Like, what's
bruh, it's
But you
weird.
made me
It's
think about another thing about, and you spoke on this on previous episodes, that the health conscious aspects of overseas too, of eating the food over there. I thought I've had like seeing the eggs be a different color or uh, food expiring in 2 days. Like you get it
yeah,
home, you need to eat it immediately, then you need to go back to the grocery store. A lot of places being built up almost similar to like New York, where it's like grocery stores or markets on every corner. So you kind of get to know community. They real big on community. So you get to know like
yeah,
who you getting your food from and
yeah,
stuff. But the health aspects of the food is a lot healthier because their government is regulating what they can and can't put in the foods and stuff. And also
yeah,
the mobile aspect of it of you don't need a car. I didn't have a car for the whole 6 months I was over there. Didn't I might have rented a car once. You are able to walk and use public transportation everywhere, and those two things alone help you get into a good physical set. You don't see a lot of big people
nah, in the States,
overseas just because you have to walk and do those certain things, and just the walking in the smaller portion control, the smaller portions of food and stuff, not a lot of processed and sugar and stuff. That me going overseas makes me lose like 15-20 pounds just from the
absolutely.
lifestyle over there. It's crazy.
Cause they'll shame you. Niggas will shame you real quick for not having a car. Look, I'm over here. I still don't have a car. Like, I'm cool with that. And I could taxi just about everywhere. I can put that money in my pocket. You know, I can pay off the rest of the little bit of debt I got. And I should be debt free within the end of this year. If not this year, next year. My student loans are gone. So I'm good. So, you know, that's a very good point. You know, especially in the Netherlands, they got bikes. Look, chick coming through and you gonna smash whatever. She coming through on the bike, whether it's sleeting, it's snowing. She just left the coffee shop. She pulling up in her coat on a bike I don't care if it's -5. I don't care if it's 45. She pulling up, or you pulling up on a bike, and that's totally okay. Or public transportation, on God, and that's just how it is. Like they're like Vikings. So just being able to see that.
I've
Look,
never seen so many bikes before in my life when I went to Amsterdam. Them bike lots and stuff.
Yeah, they got the two. You got kids, you got the two, and then they got the 3 one, and that's what I appreciate about them. And it's also another thing is like I don't know, like when you in America, it's like they feel like you gotta buy them a Uber. Like it's like, oh, you gotta buy me an Uber, and I'm like, what's so bad about public transportation? It's like I said, it's the system, it's the culture, and another thing about America too that I think we could learn is we could learn how to be more connected to nature, because I call America like the land of the machines. Like out here, you'll see women eating fruit, you know what I'm saying, or different places. You'll see women eating fruit, walking around. When the last time you seen somebody walking around eating an apple? A female or somebody walking around eating an apple. They probably got a burger. Ain't nothing wrong with burgers. I love burgers too. I love food. You know what I'm saying? But like, it makes you want to get an apple. You know what I'm saying? Even the way women dress, like they wear a cherry, like a dress, more dresses, and they wear dresses with cherries on them, or dresses with apples, something natural, feminine. One girl told me one time, and I think I said this on a podcast before, the women in America, she said she experienced will walk more with the shoulders. Girls overseas, they walk more with the hips. And I definitely noticed that, like, the women
I
in
never
general are
noticed
more
that.
feminine. Yeah, more feminine for sure. I've noticed. But it's just interesting because my homegirl, Kamal, shout out to you. She's going to be on one of my podcasts. She lives in LA. She was saying that when she worked in a job, she said that, you know, it made her more masculine. You know what I'm saying? And so she had to kind of like save up a little money, and then she started getting into her books and stuff like that. So it's very interesting things that and she just went on her first trip out of the country to UK as well. And she had a good time. So hopefully she'll be on and maybe you guys can meet. Like, just those things that I hear from people that have traveled the first time. These are very special things, very special talks.
For
So,
sure. Oh, it lagged a little bit.
yeah, it probably got a little lag. So yeah, we like 51 minutes in, man. We got a few more minutes. It's really cool. Actually, one of my boys is thinking about coming out here. Um, it's nice to just have a pool in a rooftop here, just chilling, and you can find places to live. You can live as high or as low as you want here. Um, I think one thing America has to get in order is the cost of living, because at this point in Portugal, it's 45% more Americans than it was the previous year. I think this was 21 to 22. I read that 41% more Americans in Portugal. And even in Portugal, it was so chill. It
It's
was
chill,
super chill.
yeah. I've seen a
You
lot
know?
of teachers going to like Dubai.
Yeah.
That's
Yes, he's a teacher. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people
okay.
teaching. Yeah, and I coach and stuff. Um, but one thing about Dubai here that, I'll say one thing that I do that I think is good about America is I love our sports, and we're trying to incorporate that over here. Our sports is really good. Obviously, food's good. I love Creole food. I get homesick sometimes, but considering the cost of living and things, I'm perfectly fine over here.
Yeah,
And without,
we pretty much in a recession or on the way. It's getting
Mhm.
worse before it's getting better,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it happens. It's
we'll get through it.
history repeating itself.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm always gonna be a proud American. There's definitely benefits, like currency's higher. People look at Americans here and around the world like, oh, Americans, they separate the politics from it. Very rarely when I'm outside the country do I hear people talk about money.
Oh,
Like
facts. And
I can't talk to you if you ain't got this. I mean, Dubai, you got some of that, but it's Dubai. But a lot of places I've been to, nobody really cares about that. It's just about the experiences. So,
the
what
only
did you?
place I feel like when people talk kind of more like status and money, and this is just my personal experience, was like really DC area. For some
Yes,
reason, it feels like in
I say
DC,
that
it's all
all the
about.
time. What do you do?
Yeah, it's all about what you do, and I don't know if it's just a cultural thing, but even like the nightlife, everything seems a little bit more expensive, like more dress up as well. Like you need to,
which is cool too. But I know what you
it's
mean.
cool. It's cool to experience, but it feels a lot more that it's that's what it's about. Like material things, like what you do, what you can do for me, like in it's almost like a forced networking thing where it ain't even organic a little bit. Like everybody's trying to get their little elevator pitch, and it feels a little different. I don't know if it's because of that environment. Yeah.
It's exhausting. I know what you mean. I've been there 7 years. You know, I'm trying to think about the biggest city. I don't know. I'm just grateful that I got football practice tonight, 6:14. So I think that's at, like, what time is my practice? I think my practice is at, I'm thinking
Isn't
about.
that crazy too? How like you can move out of the country and play like whatever semi-pro sport and stuff. Like you just go. Because when I was in the UK, I did rugby and basketball over there. So it's just like,
awesome.
and again, I don't think of myself as like no crazy athlete or something, but
They
I'm
just want
okay with to go
ball.
over there. Yeah, just to still be able to play and stuff. That again, those health aspects. I don't know. It's just it's different.
That's why it's so special to me to try to get as many black people to get their passports. Like our sisters are definitely killing the game, and they got to it first. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of reasons I think behind that. That'll be another podcast. But I'm happy to see, the sisters really doing that. So I'm trying to get the brothers to do that more, because we find ourselves in so much more violent situations that warranted and unwarranted. You just be at the wrong place, wrong time. And you just trying to just defend yourself, and next thing you know, you in jail. They want our black asses in jail for that labor. Message, nigga. Message.
That's a
Okay.
system generated thing too.
But yeah, so what would you say your favorite country is?
Spain. I would say Spain.
Spain,
Greece
though.
or Italy is a top second. Just because I, of course, just recently went there, but I just love the cultural aspects of Spain. I feel like they do stuff a lot later. Like people aren't getting up early.
They chill.
Super chill. Dinners at like 8, 9 o'clock. If you're going out to a bar or club or whatever, they really ain't starting until like it might open at 10, 11, but they ain't starting until midnight or something. And they going until 4, 5 in the morning. And you get up at 6 and walk around, you ain't gonna see a lot of like nobody. Everybody sleep. They ain't starting to have breakfast till like 9, 10. Lunch at like 1, 2.
I remember it was 1 o'clock in the morning. Me and some of my friends who were in Spain and Barcelona, shout out to my boy Archie, we were walking and we had like €1 beers we were drinking, walking around. And there's kids at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night or Saturday night just walking around, just fiestas. They had like I got a video of this too. And like then the next thing you know, there's like a little street party. Next thing you know, they playing Nas, You Can Hate Me Now. Like it's just crazy. It's so crazy how aware and how much our culture as black people is just so just worldwide, and it even still surprises me, and I've been to 21 countries. So like black people, I'm here to tell you, like, the world loves you, even if the system they're going.
Does traveling make you feel? I ain't gonna say smaller, but I guess what I'm trying to say, does it make you feel smaller in the sense of it's a bigger world than you kind of thought? Because I feel like growing up in America, they try and teach you that America, even when they used to do the map thing where they try and make America look bigger than it really is. Like traveling, does that make you feel like, oh, it's you really start believing those numbers you see about how big the population is, and like, oh, it's a lot of different experiences, a lot more different people. Like that made me feel a lot smaller in some instances of like, oh, okay, like some of the stuff you kind of used to worry about is just like, oh, that's not as big of a concern. Like it's other things happening.
Well, the thing is the rat race in America is on a whole nother level. So a lot of the times people are just like, gotta pay these bills, gotta pay these bills, gotta pay these bills, bills. And it's like, you can't pay my bills. And when the next bill coming, and don't get me wrong, everybody got bills, but it's like, I feel like in my experience, people may have bills and maybe like, have an average lifestyle. But I just feel like people know how to live life more and enjoy life more overseas because they also have a culture to do so, especially in Europe. Like they got 4 to 6 weeks paid vacation. You know what I'm saying? they have a lot of things in place to help people. Again, Germany, 48-hour work week. Even here, there's a cap on some labor stuff. Yes, you got people over here building the country, like the Indians and whatever, building the country. But if it was, I mean, it's probably grueling work, but I think that if it was really ridiculously bad, they wouldn't continue to come here. You know what I mean? To help build. So it just depends on how you look at it. It's hard work building the country, and to be honest, I think that it's got to be something that people experience for themselves. I mean, I could talk till I'm blue in the face, and become blue face, and it's just I don't know. You got the more people we got here. I got people all different races saying, "Hey, man, it's such a great thing to do," and you can find a country for you. It doesn't have to be Dubai. It doesn't have to be Spain. It doesn't have to be any of these places, but you have options. The more options you have as a
Plethora.
black person or a black dude specifically for my channel, for my main audience, the less likely you are to do some fugazi shit over something small. So, but you got the last word, man.
Oh, last word. Hey, just like you saying, travel, go do experiences. If you can't make it out of the country, start small and go to a different city, state. Just seeing different stuff outside of your environment changes your mindset. If you're feeling creatively stuck, just doing that can get you in that right mindset. Try different things, different experiences. Talk to different people. I know we living in like this social media age. If you see somebody doing something you want to do, ask them about it. If you feeling like you don't know how to get the knowledge, ask somebody about how to get it, and just try and do for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm real big on like accountability and trying to hold yourself accountable and doing being self-reliant. So, but self-reliant in knowing that you need to ask help from other people. So
That's just
network,
life.
yeah, life. Like you go, it's people doing something that you want to do. Ask people, and I also I don't know why it just makes me feel like I'm going on a tangent. Don't feel like
No,
you get
we got
butthurt because
time, bro.
if you ask one person and they say no, like don't let that be like, oh, I tried to ask that one person.
Yeah.
Keep going through the process of trying it with multiple people, because that's how you start meeting again. Like you say, you meet this one person and be like, oh well, yeah, I know this person. Now you get over here, and you just learn so much about yourself. That's how you learn what you like and don't like. That's how you end up in Dubai playing American football and doing random different things. So you just gotta get those experiences out there and don't wait. Like you don't have to wait. I think that makes me think about that when you go out on the town and stuff out there, it feels like it's not like an ageism type thing either. Like over here
No,
in
it's
America,
not.
it feels like it's certain places and parties that's for people that's 18 to 21, 21 to 25.
Labels. I talked about that. It's labeled.
Overseas, it's like, hey,
They don't care.
everybody going everywhere. It's just it's a party. You're gonna see people of all. You can see somebody 70 in there, and everybody just
Killing
in
it.
there having a good time. Yeah, everybody just in there having a good time, like
Mm-hmm.
drinking, doing whatever. So it's just,
That's a
I don't
very
know.
good
It's just
point,
different.
bro. That's a very good point. You don't feel excluded. It doesn't feel cliquish, in general. Like I feel like, I think that as a person who, I know I say last word, but we
No,
genius talk. We genius. We genius is talking, and this is my shit, so I can make it just what I'm saying as long as I need to. By the way, I'm excited to be on your podcast too, man. That's awesome. I think that's great. And I can tell you're a host because the conversation just flows in a different way. You know what I'm saying? We just bouncing ideas off. That's a good point, man. When I was walking the streets of Spain and they had all these street parties, I didn't feel out of place. I felt like they noticed I was American. But they, like I said, they threw on that Nas, and they know you came there for a reason, and you spent money going there, not just for the money, but you could have went anywhere in the world, but you chose to be there, and so they really appreciate that, and so they want to help you do that. So that's actually a very, very good point.
Yeah, and once they know you from somewhere else, they want to make you have a extra good time. Then, like the pride of their
Extra,
country, like, hey
extra
man,
good
you need to
time.
eat this. You need to get a shot of
Mhm.
this. Hey, y'all, this
Mhm.
dude from America.
Mhm.
I ain't gonna lie.
Mhm.
The first couple of
Mhm.
times, it's a little what's the word? It's not scary. It's a product environment where you get kind of alert. Like,
Your
oh, I don't really
spiders
want a lot of people.
alert,
Yeah, yeah.
alert,
Like,
alert,
I don't
alert,
need a lot of
alert,
people knowing I'm from
alert.
America. Like, yeah. Let's just keep between us.
Mhm.
No, man, I
Yeah.
promise we're gonna have a good time. So I don't know. It's
True.
just a balance thing. Like you get a
Anxiety.
little cautious. Like anxiety. Like oh.
But it's true. It's true. Like, I'm glad you brought that up too. It's very true. You shouldn't have to walk around through life. And I actually was talking about this video I just put on Instagram. You shouldn't have to walk through life looking over your shoulder like somebody going to pull the trigger. That's just not
It's a
normal.
different kind of trauma and anxiety, man. Walking around with all of that is different.
Well, yeah, man. This concludes number 10, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming out here. It's a pleasure to have you.
I
Parris,
appreciate it, man.
North Carolina,
Appreciate it so much.
boys.
It's long overdue. It's like 3 weeks in the making.
Yeah, for sure. Probably longer than that. But I learned a lot. Always learn a lot. And thanks for joining the podcast. Everybody else, get your passport. Stop bullshitting. Let's get it done. All right, y'all. Peace.
Thanks. Get your passport.